All right, guys, did you hear? Did you get the email yesterday? We dropped an awesome, really awesome mystery box. One of the best that I've ever put together. There's 30 samples in it. And I can't believe the reaction. We're kind of almost sold out of this box and so quickly. And we haven't really announced it until now to the YouTube channel, of course. If you signed up for a newsletter, you would have gotten notified that the mystery box has dropped. This is the latest mystery box, and there's 30 niche fragrance samples in the box, but it's actually 24 samples and a discovery set of 6 samples. So you have one discovery set of 6 samples from one brand and 24 samples of different fragrances. A total of 30 samples, 30 different samples of niche fragrances in the latest mystery box. And judging by the speed at this kit is selling, you better take advantage of it and get it now before we completely run out. So this is the latest mystery box or kit we're dropping today, officially today. Yesterday was the soft drop, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the fragrances so you can get an idea of what's inside in case you want to decide and hear about the fragrances, because when we announced it yesterday, it was no mention of what's inside. So let's talk about the first fragrance. I'm not going to tell you what's inside. Obviously, it's a mystery. These are going to ship at the end of the week, Friday, but most likely maybe they'll go out a little earlier. But the first fragrance, I have to be honest, is one of the most unique smells I've put my nose on. It's a very interesting fragrance focused on saffron, but there's a very interesting, slightly fruity touch in it. And again, it's so unusually gorgeous. Like, I haven't smelled something like this before. There's a slight bubblegum undertone, but remember, this is saffron. So saffron is a spice. It goes spicy and leathery. We don't have much of that here, but what we have is one of the most unique saffron fragrances I've ever put my nose on. So that's the first fragrance. So awesome, so unique in the way it smells. These are not in any kind of order. I'm only telling you the fragrances in the order we had received them. So the next fragrance is, I think it's a kind of a tropical woody fragrance. It has beachy kind of marine touches thrown in, and also some overdose of flowers. So in the base, it's kind of creamy and it's also earthy. And of course, there's some tropical fruits thrown in like coconut. And then there's an overdose of flowers. So it acts like a tropical floral, beachy kind of sunscreeny fragrance. And it has a kind of a creamy, woody, earthy dry down. So that's actually a really awesome beachy experience if you're not ever going to the tropical locales and you want to kind of experience in a perfume form. I think that will satisfy. The next fragrance is a vanilla-focused fragrance. Yes, we do love vanilla. This is actually a very dark vanilla. I would say this leans masculine. There's smoky and leathery touches thrown in. I mean, you do experience the vanilla, but of course, the more opposite notes you add to the vanilla, the less vanillic it becomes. This does go a bit leathery. It does go a bit smoky, like there's incensey kind of resinous touches here. And of course, it's kind of dark. It's ambery. But there's 3 varieties of... Actually, what I should also say, there's an inky quality about it. And I think that's coming from the fact that they have these kind of darker notes contrasting with the vanilla. There's a peppery spice in there as well. So that is the third fragrance. We're going to an amber-focused fragrance next. Let's talk about this one a little bit. This is a very interesting combination of notes, I have to be honest. It's an amber that is luscious and bright, not a dark, resinous amber. So in the end, there's some marine notes in here as well with the amber. And of course, there's a brightness about it. So I'm an amber lover. You guys know this. And one of my favorite non-warm spicy ambers happens to be Nishane's Ambra Calabria. Almost lost the name. This is, I'm not saying this is like that, but it's got enough brightness and freshness to give you a different amber experience where it's not truly warm, spicy, resinous, amber with powdery touches and things like that. So there's fruity touches here and there's also marine touches, but in the end it's drying down to be an amber. All right, the next fragrance is quite a potent fragrance with a kind of a fruity dryness. So there's dried fruits in here. So I almost feel like this fragrance is kind of autumn in a bottle in a fruity direction. Dried fruits to me scream autumn. And of course, the star note here is a dried fruit. But along the way, you've got spices, ambery notes, some light floral, rosy touches as well. Kind of caramelly, sticky. I think it's a perfect autumn fragrance. Totally, I think the way the fragrance is created, the dried fruits to me screams autumn. And I think it'll be perfect to wear in the autumn as well. And we're kind of headed that way. So that is the 5th fragrance. I didn't mark down, I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we did 5 fragrances so far. Remember, we have 30 total fragrances in this mystery box. It's one of the most epic boxes I've put together. It's a really exciting box. So please make sure to get your box right away. So I think, all right, the next one is such an awesome scent. I'm so excited that this is finally going out. This was actually supposed to be in the previous kit, but it's actually in this kit because we had a few issues with a few things. But I'm finally happy that it's going out. It's a very luxurious resinous amber fragrance with smoky, peppery touches and some sweet balsamic undertones as well. There's definitely like light fruity and maybe slight boozy touches here as well. But it's so gorgeous. Now, this is a very underrated French house, giving you a little clue. I've spoken about them before. I had bought one of their fragrances probably like almost 10 years ago, and I was always recommending that fragrance. But I think you'll be hearing a lot more about this house because they do create some awesome fragrances. And this amber is going to be perfect for the rest of the year, especially for autumn and most importantly in the winter time, because I really love this kind of amber that's resinous, of course. There's got lots of resins. There's balsamic touches and some slight sweetness there, but I wouldn't call this a sweet kind of an amber. There's a bit of savory kind of saltiness in there as well. So awesome scent. Happy that it's finally going out in the latest mystery box. I think you guys are going to be happy with it. All right, we have a tobacco-focused fragrance. And I think last time some of you were complaining that the kit was maybe a bit too gourmand-leaning. I don't think we've had anything super gourmand except for the dried fruity one that I just spoke about. And this is also not a gourmand. And it's interesting, I don't set out to, feature mostly gourmands in kits. Sometimes it just happens that the fragrances that were available to be, featured in a kit happen to lean gourmand. But here, I don't really think we have any super gourmand touches, maybe a few. But I think we have a nice variety, especially with this. This is a really awesome, dry, leafy, musty take on tobacco. There's an earthiness about it beneath all that kind of dry, leafy tobacco touches. There's, of course, some vanilla here to balance out all that kind of musty, dry, leafy tobacco touches. And I think there's some earthy touches as well. but super, super honey. I think they've thrown in, super amazing, I should say. I think they've thrown in honey. I was thinking honey and I said honey, but super awesome is what I was trying to say. But there is a little slight touch of honey in here to kind of sweeten up the fragrance. But it is, in the end, tobacco, leafy, dry, maybe a slight bit smoky, slight bit. It's not going fully ash, but there's some slight smokiness in there as well. But a really potent one. I think it's a really strong one. But the next fragrance, I've actually spoken about it on the channel before, and it's a musky, fruity fragrance that's super sexy. It's got a juiciness about it. But again, it's not a gourmand. I think the most gourmand so far has been the one with the dried fruits. I'll let you know when it's getting to a really gourmand offering here. But I think this is a really awesome, super sexy fragrance, but it does have a fruitiness. It's quite juicy, and it's super musky. There's a lot of musk thrown in here as well. But also, I think the type of fruit that's in here is really like an autumn fruit. So I think it's going to be really appropriate to wear this in the autumn months. Really love it. I think it's definitely one of my favorites from the house. Anyway, that is in the latest mystery box. And then we've got a super spicy, citrusy vetiver fragrance. And I think this should satisfy anybody that really enjoys vetiver in fragrances. This is also super peppery, really peppery. And it also leans green. And I think that it's really, even though I don't find vetiver to be a sexy note, I find the composition to be sexy. And the pepperiness is super potent. So if you like very peppery fragrances, I think this will satisfy you, and you'll enjoy it. But just keep in mind, it's lots of vetiver, so it's got that kind of earthiness, kind of like rooty kind of experience, but there's a lot of pepper here and a lot of juicy citruses as well. So vetiver lovers, I think that'll be perfect. Vetiver also, to me, smells really awesome when it's raining and it's a little bit warm outside. I think the combo of the way the vetiver is, because it really comes alive in damp, kind of humid type of weather. So if you're ever in that kind of an environment, put on some vetiver. I think it'll come alive in that kind of weather, I think. So the next one is a marine fig fragrance. It was actually featured in the marine video yesterday. Did you guys catch that video? This was in that video, and it's a fig fragrance, focused fragrance that has a lot of marine touches. Along the way, there's, spices, there's zingy spices, fresh spices, salt. There's also salt in here, but for sure, it leans marine because there's definitely like a sea breezy marine effect happening here with the bitterness of the green fig leafy notes. So I think this is also a really awesome autumn note, because for me, I think figs ripen towards the end of summer and, towards autumn, at least some that I've experienced. So if it's really warm, then no, it'll ripen earlier. But sometimes where I am, I notice that the figs are ripening later in the year. And I think the way fig trees smell when it's a warm autumn day, I think is one of my favorite times to smell the leaves of the tree. So this gives me that kind of an effect, but of course with a bunch of sea marine touches. And then the next fragrance is a really super yummy tobacco boozy fruity fragrance. See, not another gourmand, no gourmand. We do have 2 full-on gourmands in this box, so it's not a lot. Obviously, I'm telling you the truth. But some of you might think some of them that are not necessarily full-on gourmand for me might be. But there are some fruity offerings, like the dried fruity fragrance that I spoke about earlier might come off a bit gourmand to you. It's not a gourmand to me. But this fragrance is also super sexy. Did I spray it? No. Well, I did spray it, but let me spray it a little bit more. It's boozy, as I said. It's got tobacco, it's got fruits, it's got sticky honey touches. And for me, this is also a perfect fragrance to wear in the autumn. And it's very ambery and kind of warm, and it's got a reddish kind of orange glow to the experience of the fragrance. So if you like that kind of warmth in fragrances, but along the way there's kind of like fruits in there, there's boozy touches in there, and tobacco and things like that. There's also some nutty notes in here as well, very light. I think you'll really be happy with this fragrance. So that's in the kit, and I think you guys are going to be totally happy. That actually is an extrait de parfum, by the way, so super potent. All right, so we've got a fruity fragrance, but on the fresh side. It's highlighting a berry, so it's a berry-focused fragrance, but it does go fresh. There's also other fruits in there. It doesn't, I think, to me, this is almost like an Aventus-style fruity fragrance with berries rather than, of course, the pineapple that's in Aventus. But along the way, there's also powdery notes, floral notes, woods, and it's quite fresh, but as it's developing, it gets deeper and deeper. To me, it also kind of reminds me of some Terenzi fragrances, so you might really appreciate this one. It's also very, very long lasting. And of course, if you like berry-focused fragrances, you're going to want to try this one. And the next fragrance is a fruity fragrance once again. This one actually, it's on the border of being gourmand because it kind of also goes beachy and tropical. So it's a very interesting smell, and it puts me in the, like, my childhood days of chomping on like really chewy candy. But beneath it all, there's some marine notes and sea notes and beachy kind of notes thrown in as well. Like, just imagine you're a kid, you've got your toys sitting on sand, and your mom and dad are like laying on the sand, and you're just playing with your toys, and you can smell the sea, and you're chomping on this kind of fruity candy or something. That's what it gives me the idea of. It's a fun fragrance. But I think you might think this might be kind of gourmand leaning, maybe. But anyway, it's a fun fragrance, I think, and it totally puts me in my childhood days. But the next fragrance is a super fresh, citrusy, spicy, and it eventually dries to an amber, but there's a lot of cold, icy kind of aromatics thrown in with all the juicy citruses. There's also mint here, so it's very, very aromatic. And the types of notes they're using gives you this very ice cold feeling, and so it's got a very cooling quality. So it's a freshy, but really invigorating, very clean, and there's a sharpness about it, an ice cold effect about it. I think you'll like that one. I think it smells really, really great. You'll be definitely satisfied. But the next fragrance is an oud with a fruity note. Who likes oud with fruits? But this is a tropical fruit. And the oud obviously is not your real oud. It's an oud accord. But there's a lot of fruits here. It's juicy, it's jammy, it's ripened fruits. And behind it all, because the fruits are the star, behind it all, you'll notice the oud. It gets woody and also gets a little ambery. And there's a tropical vibe about it. Not talking about a berry here, so giving you a little bit of clue. But there's a sweet tart quality about it as well. I hear from the grapevine it's very popular out there, but I don't know yet. So maybe you'll once you get your kit, you'll see what it's all about and kind of report back and let me know. But the next fragrance is a very clean, almost like it's aromatic. So there's a lot of aromatic notes in here. There's also like aquatic notes. I feel like it acts a bit musky, and that musky experience I'm getting from it reminds me a little bit of the musk that's in Aqua Universalis Forte, but it just kind of has a very soapy, clean, musky quality about it, and of course with the aquatic touches. So I think this is for someone that likes light fragrances, personal fragrances, clean fragrances, of course aromatic, and musky fragrances. There's also a very laundry clean quality about this, and so I think you guys will enjoy it if you appreciate fragrances that are super clean and aquatic watery. So the next fragrance is another marine fragrance, but super intense. And lots of amber and lots of woods with marine notes. There's a lot of different marine type notes here, like ingredients that are found near the sea that are thrown in. But it's a super potent experience with the marine notes added to the mix. So you've got this interesting clash of woods and amber, and the idea of being along the coast and smelling the sea and experiencing, saltiness. But along the way, there's also some citruses and freshness thrown in as well, floral notes and things like that. So that is in your kit. All right, the next fragrance seems to be a fizzy, effervescent cocktail of some sort. Are you into those kind of fizzy drinks? It smells like a fizzy drink that I've drank so many times. It's kind of it has a fruitiness, maybe like peachiness, berries, but with champagne-y kind of fizzy effervescence. It's quite yummy, but it's fresh, not super deep, but it's very, very bubbly and fun and playful. Might lean a bit young, but I think it dries down to, not a very young experience, if that makes sense. I think it's the fruitiness in here that's giving us a little bit of a more fun and young, playful kind of an energy to it. There are some tropical touches and, of course, warmth beneath it, all the fruits and stuff as well. So that is a fun fragrance. Then I think this next one, is a full-on gourmand. So we do have a few. Not a lot, but a few. It's just, I don't want to say too much about this because it reminds me of things I used to cook or bake, I should say. But there's a baking quality about it, and it's also fruity as well. So it's kind of like a fruity gourmand and also bready. Like if you like the idea of dough, bread, and fruits together, I think that should satisfy. It's fun. It totally takes me back. In fact, sometimes when I'm at the coffee shop, I buy something that smells like this, or in my experience, more like tastes like this. It's really edible smelling. Really yummy. So that is fun in the kit. Then we have another marine fragrance in this in the kit. This is also a salty kind of green leaning, but also it has that kind of juicy kind of tart citrusy quality with it as well, in addition to the greenness of the notes that are in here, along with the salty notes and the marine notes. I think there's fig in here, so we might actually have two fragrances with fig and that two fragrances kind of leaning marine. But there's something, what's the word? There's something almost like pine-like happening here. It's got this kind of very green, invigorating touch about it. It might be coming from a citrus that's in here. There's a tartness. In comparison to the other fig and marine, they're so different. The other one didn't have a lot of citruses. This one is super fresh with the citruses. The other one seemed a bit woody. Okay, that is a great fragrance. I think it should be a great autumn offering. But this next one, I have to be honest, the bottle is so super cute. And the fragrance, I don't know if I would... It's smoky. It's a fragrance that smells like something that a lot of us consume. And you'd see it at bars, sports bars, quite a bit. It's a fragrance created by this interesting combination of notes to give you the experience of this very popular drink that, you know, you go to a sports bar and drink. Anyway, I'll give you that. But it's an interesting experience. So that is a really fun fragrance. Also from a very small indie niche house. And then we've got a fragrance from a very new house that's just come on the scene. And this is another gourmand. Again, we have probably just 2 gourmands in the kit. I think the one that has the bready kind of doughy fruity. This one is actually inspired by a European dessert of some kind. And I'm not going to say which country from Europe because it'll give it away. But it's very warm, spicy, and I think this is a perfect holiday, like autumn, holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas kind of an experience. There's a lot of cinnamon and there's a lot of those kind of warm spices. So super awesome. It's so yummy. And the more I wear it, the more I really enjoy this fragrance. There's a slight licoricey touch under there as well. And really, really fun fragrance. Anyway, that is awesome in the kit. And then we've got a more of a daring fragrance and very earthy fragrance here. Earth, beneath the earth, below the earth, green, soil. It's actually really, really good, actually. It's very, very earthy. You smell the earth pretty much, like you're digging the mud. You get the soil, and you get all the vegetation and any growth under there. Maybe some worms as well. I don't mean to say that in a weird way, but it's the earth captured in a bottle, pretty much. Very, very interesting fragrance. All right, and the last fragrance before I get to the Discovery Set fragrances happens to be a fruity floral fragrance. I hope I'm not showing any of the bottles. So there's a lot of white flowers here. There's a lot of woods. These are the keynotes, but to contrast those, there's some really beautiful stone fruits thrown in. There's a little bit of a citrusy touch along the way as well. It's quite gorgeous. I think this will be a hit for sure. So that's the last fragrance in the kit until we get to the Discovery Set. And then I don't have the fragrances in the Discovery Set in any specific order. But we've done 24 fragrances. We've got 6 more. And these 6 are as part of the Discovery Set, which you'll find in the mystery box. The first fragrance I'm going to talk to you about So I think the idea here is woods and citruses and earthy notes with a little bit of a marine oceanic thing happening in there as well. The fragrance here is quite concentrated and there's some earthy elements in there as well, like patchouli comes up. There's woods like vetiver, mossy notes. This one leans a bit masculine, but there's some freshness there, citruses, and of course the marine touches as well. All right, the next one is aromatic, and this one actually has ambergris. This one goes ambery, and it's also super spicy. And even though I feel like there's also some marine notes thrown in here. This collection seems like a fusion of freshness with more deeper notes, but I really like this one. This one's a really great one in this mystery box. One of my favorites for sure. It's the dark brown bottle, giving you a clue. Not that you know which brand I'm talking about. I love that one. The next one is a fresh one, very fresh and citrusy. But I think even though they don't report marine notes on skin, it does go a little marine as well. But there's spices, there's lemony touches, it's super fresh. And there's earthy elements in there as well, like, earthy notes like patchouli and things like that. So in the end, it's a juicy, citrusy fragrance, but on my skin, it goes a little marine, unfortunately. But there is a kind of a ozonic quality about it, and meaning like violet leaves or maybe cucumbers. It's got that kind of freshness, so it's giving it a bit of a ice cold effect in the fragrance. But I think this one will satisfy anyone that's looking for a very fresh, clean citrus with ozonic notes. And the ozonic notes is what's giving us the iciness, the cold effect. It's quite juicy. And then the next one is woods and citruses. This is my second favorite in the collection. Also kind of a darker bottle, but this one's red. So once again, we've got these kind of deeper notes like woods, lots of woods in this one, but they've thrown in something like seaweed. So it goes a slight bit marine. So once again, it's a contrast of fresh notes and more deeper notes. There's also lots of spices here. So it's got a very spicy, woody effect with fresh citruses and a little bit of a marine effect. All right. We've got 2 more left, and that'll be the entire kit. This one actually credits ozonic notes, but you can really smell the sandalwood in here. It's got that authentic creamy sandalwood experience, but it's freshened up with the ozonic notes. But it's interesting. I got more ozonic notes in the 1-2 before this. As I was saying, it was very citrusy and it went marine on my skin. I got more ozonic notes there because it was very ice cold and fresh and invigorating. This one, because it has the sandalwood. Sandalwood is a very dense, heavy note. It's a heavy base note. I feel like it cuts away from the ozonic notes that are in here. But along the way, there's spices, aromatics, green notes, earthy notes. But it's once again fresh notes competing with more heavy notes, dense notes, base notes. Because fresh notes are typically found in the top notes, and the dense notes and the heavy notes are usually base notes. So it's a kind of a fusion and balancing act between the freshness and the depth that are in here. It's pleasant. Nice collection of fragrances. And this next one also I enjoy. And this is the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about. This one is woodsy notes, seawater. It's got amber as well, but like it's a fresh take on an amber with a slight marine tinge to it. Doesn't go full on marine, but you have it. It freshens up the fragrance a little bit. But it has a very clean quality, super clean. It's a great collection. As I said, their fragrances are in this discovery set you'll find in the latest mystery box. They're fresh fragrances competing with warmer, deeper kind of notes. So you have these kind of like heavier notes, and there's freshness around the fragrance, all the fragrances as well. So I like this last one I'm talking about. It's clean. There's a major clean quality about it, even though they have that kind of marine effect happening in there. So that's it. Those are 30 fragrances in the latest mystery box. Have you gotten your kit yet? We will run out of this one, guys, so take advantage of it right away. And that's pretty much it. I hope you understood the fragrances as much as you can without revealing the names. Next Sunday, I will post the names of the fragrances, and then I'll do another video of the discount codes as well 2 weeks from now. So next week, we'll do the reveal. The fragrances, I'm sorry, the mystery box will go out by the end of the week. So, and I think once we have the post office pick them up, or the mailman to pick them up, you'll start receiving it by the next day. And, everybody will have their kits. But thanks so much for watching today's video to understand what's in the latest kit. And if you have any questions or comments, please do let me know. Add a comment below. Just to also let you know, we have a few of our previous kits available, our regular Scent Club kits. So if you haven't gotten them, please get them. And there's a potential that we might close the store as I do not have anybody available to... No, we're still looking for somebody to take care of this. So the store might be open, and I'll reveal it next week if we've found somebody and the store is open. And if you guys place orders and things like that for the OG kits that, there's a team that's going to be shipping your kits. But the mystery boxes will sell out right away. And I anticipate we sold out a lot of it yesterday. So it will most likely sell out. But stay tuned for the reveal. A week from today, I will let you know all the names of the fragrances. And at that time, I will also let you know if the store is going to stay open or not. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please subscribe to the channel and also click that bell icon so you'll be notified for all future videos. And please give a thumbs up for this video so that it will help with the algorithm. See you guys later. Bye-bye.